Oh my God, we're back. We are back. Here we are, post-episode issues. I'm Phil the Issues Guy, and we're here for The Walking Dead Season 5, Episode 1, No Sanctuary, the season premiere of The Walking Dead. It seems like forever that we've been waiting to talk about this show, and I've tried really, really hard. I've tried to ignore all the previews, to not watch the endless spoilers that come up for things here and there. So I'd be completely surprised and taken aback by what was happening tonight. And I was super excited about this. This is one of the best Walking Dead episodes I've seen in a while. So much action, so beautiful to watch. It was great, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. We are back here. It's been a while. I'm in the new studio, the Red Room. And I'm here. And this is the first time tuning in. Please hit that subscribe button. We're going to do a lot of post-episode recaps and discussions about shows and movies and things, whatever we want to talk about. And with me, as always, for The Walking Dead is my co-host, Joe Dirty Locks. How are you doing, Joe? It's been a while.
Fine. Just fine. Very excited. Speechless. Hopefully the speechlessness goes away by the time we get talking about it.
I mean, I'm losing my voice talking about it already. We're both in different locations. This is the first time both of us are podcasting in the individual location. So bear with us with any technical difficulties or anything. But holy shit, what a premiere. Total bloodbath, enough zombie killing basically there was more zombie killing in this episode than there was probably in all of season 2. Just in this episode.
Definitely quite a bit.
Oh.
It was nice to see too. Eventually they're gonna get to be killing too many zombies. They'll just be straight zombie killing wall to wall. None of this drama in between.
And I guess that's the parallel that The Walking Dead walks, no pun intended. It's how much of it is a human drama show and how much of it do we need blood and gore and pure carnage. I personally enjoy the show when it leans.
They get the balance just right.
They're there now. The last season and this season, they're hitting their stride and really doing that balance at first. Because I think at somewhere in the middle, they got lost a little bit too much into the human emotional stuff, and that's why I'd say season 2 was my least favorite season, but season 1 was a great balance as well. But,
yeah, straight from the farm through the town, Pleasantville, whatever the hell it was called. I can't. Mayberry, yeah.
Governorville,
yeah. I'm glad I forget. I hope nobody writes in the comment exactly what it is, because I'm glad I want to forget.
Yeah, the horrible things happen in that town. We want to forget. They'll pop into our head somewhere throughout this episode. But we are back. It's been a while. But if this is your first time, like I said, please hit the subscribe button. Check us out. Every week we'll be talking about The Walking Dead and recapping what happens in the episode. And I'm a bit just taken aback right now because that was just so fucking awesome on so many different levels.
It really was. There was some great final evolution to some character a couple of characters that started that I'm kind of excited about. I finally got some good things to say about a few people that.
I don't want to get into it too early because we'll talk about all these characters, but fucking Carol turned into Rambo today.
That's the one. I still can't agree with the killing of the 2 people in the prison, but where she is at this point is straight up, heads up, good. She's in a good place.
I mean, I'm jumping my notes here, but she is the zombie apocalypse Jack Bauer right now. The way she snuck in there and did everything, she's reaching Bauer-like levels of competency here.
Now we might have 2 ninjas on the team there, samurai and a ninja.
And it did answer one of my other questions that I've had about The Walking Dead, why we haven't seen someone else pull the whole trick that Rick and Glenn did in season 1, where they cover themselves in the zombie guts and turn themselves into a zombie. I think we saw Michonne do it at one point as well when we first met her, and her whole thing with her pets and everything was a big part of that. But it was interesting to see Carol do that and show how equipped our members of our crew are.
Yeah.
Which leads us perfectly to the beginning of the episode, which starts at the end of last season in A, where Rick basically says, "You're fucking with the wrong people."
Well, you got to be very happy that they picked up from exactly where they left off. I mean, there was a lot of I, like you, tried to stay away from all the previews and trailers and everything like that, but It's hard to, and it's everywhere. It's all over Facebook, Instagram, all the memes everywhere, everything.
We live in a very spoilery age that you have to be very careful. And we're coming from a podcast that discusses a show, so if you tune into this podcast before you say the show, we're all about the spoilers here. But we're talking about the show. I'm saying before things even come out, a synopsis for this episode was released yesterday. A complete synopsis from beginning to end that someone got.
And who read that? Who reads that? Who can't wait the extra day?
I don't know. Do you read it?
I don't read it. I don't read that synopsis. I'll read that synopsis later on when I'm gonna rewatch the whole season to begin with. I'll read the synopsises as I'm going, stuff like that. But no, not the day before the premiere. You want to be surprised. And the one or two things I did see, I saw Rick with a beard.
Yeah.
Picture and
I got the beard. I got the beard going on. I got the Rick beard.
And the wind up that they've been pumping, with the bat behind Glenn. So
do you?
That was all I saw. So.
Do you open your presents before the presents are your birthday presents? If you find them in the closet, did you open them up and try to peek what you're getting?
No. We usually it's your birthday, and then like a week or a month before or something like that. That's when we start giving each other presents. We're not waiters. We're just here. This is for your birthday. Here you go. It's a month away, but who knows if we'll have the money by then?
Here's a bag of change. Go buy some candy.
Right.
We start where we left off. They're messing with the wrong people. And like I said, I was trying to avoid the previews, but as Joe said, it was everywhere. You couldn't completely avoid the previews, and at minimum, I knew that everyone wasn't in danger because you saw everyone in the previews. And you were just watching the station. If you were just watching AMC, you couldn't help it because they'd flash by. Oh, here's this I've seen every single person that I was worried about alive before the season started, and I try to avoid everything.
Well, up until once we get into it, I wasn't worried about Glenn, but then once we get into the show, I start getting worried a little bit.
I was worried a little bit about that there was going to be a couple surprise.
Right.
And I do respect the show, too, for any of the preview matters leading into the season. Made it seem like this season was going to be a whole focus, when they were showing previews from the whole season, that it was going to be a terminus focus. And we might have gotten through it all in this one episode.
Yeah.
I'll be interested to see. I think we did leave it open for the bad guys to come back with, but we'll get there. Let's get into the episode. So the whole thing starts out with then and now sort of thing,
Well, yeah, it starts out with a then.
Yeah, we get the text like the Pulp Fiction separated into parts of movie. Then this is then. When is this?
That stuff right down there.
That was then. This is now.
And for some reason, I know then is like past tense, but they did a good enough job making me think that then was the actual future somehow.
Me too. I thought they were playing with some time.
Well, yeah, there could be a future. It could be a future then. They show then, and then they show Gareth, that sick son of a herding bitch that, all bound up in and somebody being like, what was he? Oh, we were just trying to be nice to them. Yeah, like being rounded up like cattle's nice.
A few minutes in here, Joe, and with this then and now, I feel like we're back in that scene in Spaceballs again with the. Is this? Is this now or is this then? When will then be now? Soon.
I wish this could be the actual green screen. I could do it right now.
The future when we get a budget.
Yeah, right.
We see what's his name, Gareth from last season, and we see these guys, and we get a little bit of a back history, but we don't know. It's a little vague that they're saying we shouldn't have been nice to people. We shouldn't have brought them in. What did you think was going to happen? But we're going to get it back. We're going to get it all back, and we see. I think, do we see Tasha Yar in there yet? No, I don't think we saw Tasha.
I don't think we did see Tasha. I just think it was him and some other kid, and I don't know. Maybe it was the kid from the barrack, from that later on.
Oh no, I think it was the guy from last season that ends up getting shot when Rick's holding him.
Okay.
Garrett's brother.
It's Gareth's little brother.
Yeah, so it's Garrett, whoever it is. They're talking about giving us a little bit more of a history of
Oh,
Terminator.
yeah, he's the one getting butchered on the slab later. They close up on him a few times.
And what's good about this, and I'm listening in the background as the people here and the people there are both watching The Talking Dead, I think I heard the writer say in the background that they put these scenes in because they wanted to give Terminus a little bit more support, a little bit more realism to show you the history of it and give you a little bit more about it to not make these guys seem like faceless bad guys, to show that they...
Right, but they didn't make you think that at the start. There was nothing about that scene that made me think it wasn't... Because it closes in episode A of last season, which is the last episode. It closes with, that Rick being like, oh, they don't know who they're messing with and everything. And then it opens up with them bound in one of these trailers, their captors bound in one of these trailers. I'm thinking, go Rick.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we were expecting now. And then of course, now. And when the now happens, you're like, okay, let's see how we got there.
Yep, exactly, which is why, again, I agreed with you. It felt like the timetable thing was a little weird, like we should have been seeing the future instead of the past.
Right, and all the way up until, yeah.
But it ends up making sense at the end. I almost think we should have seen the end scene at the beginning, or they should have just done all the flashback stuff at the beginning.
I like it. It was a very well done twist for TV to come. That was good. That was really good.
The Walking Dead. That was really great.
Yeah, and it delivered. It delivered gratification by the end of the episode. What they did, their little trick was, it was for us, and it delivered. We'll discuss it.
So after the then, we get to now. We finally get to now, and all our heroes are sharpening up their weapons. And it's funny, when I was watching the episode, I started thinking about it seemed like the beginning of a Rambo scene, and later I described Carol many times in my notes as Shambo or Carol Bo or Rambo.
Carbo.
And we hear Abraham's voiceover talking some detail about just events from last season, and that they're alive, and it's basically they're getting ready to deal with anybody that comes to the door the next time that they come deliver them food or whatever. We hear some voices from the outside that tell them all, line up, get ready, yada yada yada. And they're like, yeah, we're gonna kill him.
They're wrapping belts with spikes around their fists. They've cut some. They're using something to cut to cut chunks of metal off of the sides of the crate that they're in, of the train car that they're in.
Rick is like, you go for the eyes, then the throat.
Right, blind them and then kill them. At least you'll stun them enough. Maybe you can get someone else if someone else is there. Just do whatever you have to do. Let's go.
But these Terminus guys are like, we're not dumb shits, and they throw in smoke grenades and just smoke them out.
A flashbang, and they're like, put your backs against the walls, which would make them face the center, face the flash grenade. That's pretty sadistic too.
And so we're outside, and Rick gets thrown down and beat, and this is where we see some of the images that confirm, if you had any doubt, that these people are cannibals. We see a human body getting chopped up, and we see 3 bins that I freeze framed on. One said burn, one said feed, and one said wash.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's
Yeah, that's pretty self-explanatory. It's like wash, dry, fold at the laundromat. You get burn, feed, wash here at Terminus. Here at Terminus, you get your
burn, or is it burn, feed, wash? Yeah.
Burn, feed, wash.
Okay.
So yeah, so I'm not sure what the wash is for.
Yeah, I'm not. Wash the bodies.
Wash the bodies.
Wash the meat.
One is good for eating. The feed must be the stuff the meat that is worth it. And the burn pile is the pile that's the no good stuff, the stuff that you can't eat, that you just burn. Okay, so it makes sense. It makes sense. Everything checks out. Click. Okay. Story checks out. And as Rick's being carried out, this is another thing I have to give this episode of The Walking Dead credit for. I think they stepped up the cinematography. I thought a couple of shots that they had at the end.
Cleaning it, like you're cleaning your kill, you're gutting it, skinning it, all that stuff. Yeah. I don't know what's wrong with my brain.
You get a really good reflection shot off a bin with Rick's face. It was really visually pretty fucking awesome, and he gets bent over a trough and gagged and zip tied his limbs so he can't move. And we see a guy sharpening a blade, and another guy going all Donatello with a baseball bat.
Yeah. This is the preview the one preview I saw, where they getting ready to. But the first person they swing on, of course, isn't Glenn. It's some blonde kid.
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. You see our heroes, and then you see these like 4 other red shirts. The red shirts from Star Trek. They're just like, hey, we're fucked.
And so is this when you start thinking that, oh, maybe someone else attacked the compound? Who are these people? Are these the other people from the other trailer? Are these their captors? What's going on?
You got to just.
Because they started with that, with Gareth being bound also. So I was kind of like, huh. I was even more confused. So it still wasn't clear to me that we were starting right from where we left off. So.
Right. It was interesting that they chose to start the episode with the Terminus flashback, but I guess there's no other place you put it besides the bookends of the episode. You have to start and finish the episode with it to close out the story. And I feel like it was a really good, again, like you were saying, it's a really good use of fucking with the time frame to show you probably the point in time, if we're really going to dictate it, it was the point in time where all the original Terminus members were initially cast out of Terminus for all these murderous and rapist guys. And when they're in the midst of the planning point to go back in and turn it all into and to go all Rick Grimes and bite people's necks and eventually just
do what they got to do, be the butchers, I guess, right?
Exactly, because it's that thing that they said that I have written down the end. You're either the hunted or the hunted or whatever, one of those.
Butcher or the butcher, or the
butcher or the yeah. Whatever their cliche, their particular cliche is that lets them rationalize their evil behavior. So after the guy sharpens his blade and does the Leonardo and the Donatello, and we see our blonde guy who makes eye contact with Rick, who again we just know is gonna die, and everyone sort of has dread in their eyes. And I think our only good guys that are out there right now are Bob, Glenn, Daryl, and Rick, I believe.
Yep, all the men except the scientist and
Eugene and Abraham is the other guy.
Yeah, Eugene and Abraham.
So the blonde guy we don't recognize, the red shirt, gets hit in the head with a bat and they cut his neck, and then they rinse, repeat.
Yeah, the first guy they said on The Walking Dead is the Penguin.
It's the guy that plays the Penguin on Gotham. Yeah, I didn't recognize him at the time. I'll have to rewatch the episode.
Also in an earlier episode too.
Yeah, I don't know exactly.
I wasn't paying attention. I just caught that one part.
So what do you think about the Terminus guy's path to killing people? Baseball bat, knife? Do you think this is an effective killing strategy?
Typical slaughterhouse.
Yeah. It's
stun slice.
Yeah, you don't want. I mean, sure, you can have them yelling and screaming or trying to gargle and flop around after you cut their throat, but the whack in the back of the head is good.
Tie down chainsaw, quick chainsaw.
Because you got to bleed them out. You want all the blood to drain out.
That's true. You're true. Yeah.
You don't want that splatter from the chainsaw.
Again, I guess the story checks out. Story checks out here.
Now, I think they would have been quicker to hang rather than just let them all slump like that. I would imagine you'd want to do one at a time, hang them two.
Yeah.
Like thwap, bang, or thwap, slice, and then just lift the feet and hook them up.
And then we get another really awesome shot from, I think it's Glenn's perspective, as he can see that he's almost next, and the blood is dripping down the trough, filling up. Oh, so disgustingly, awesomely shot. I just love the way this episode looked. It seemed to have a nicer video or film stock to it. I just love the way that it just looked really horror movie-ish vibe to it, and I couldn't dig it enough.
Yeah.
And right as Glenn's about to be the next one to get killed here, is this the point where you were scared for a little Glenn here?
No. I knew something was going to happen. I was hoping for I thought all the way up until Gareth opens up his mouth, I was like, okay, this guy's going to get shot, or something's going to happen to this guy. It's not going to happen. I knew Glenn wasn't about to die. I knew they weren't going to start the season by killing Glenn. That would just be a little too much after giving us the entire last season of him chasing down Maggie.
Yeah, we need a little bit of Glenn and Maggie to find out Maggie's pregnant or something like that. It's going to happen. So then Gareth comes in and starts going all technobabble, Terminus technobabble. Is the shock count right up, or is the fort round cut up of the BB Begs up going on, blah, 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 or whatever he was saying. He starts going into this whole Terminus talk.
Yeah. He wants to know how many bullets they all fired during the roundup of Rick and everybody. And I'm thinking, how long were they out there rounding up? You'd figure you would already have the count from your men that were doing the roundup by this point. I mean, how long were they in the trailer for, where they were binding their knuckles and getting ready and all that stuff and cutting stuff off the train? And
it almost makes me think that because of the whole bag situation, it was all a setup, that he knew he wasn't going to kill any of those guys quite yet, and he just came at the right time to be like, mwahaha, so, because he just kept interrupting right before they were going to kill Glenn, and he seemed like he did have an agenda to want to know what was in that bag.
Right.
But who knows? It just seemed a little. It seemed for a tightly wound episode, it seemed a little bit plot contrivancy that we needed to save our main character's life by. Oh, wait a minute! Is he dead yet? There's a little bit of that.
And almost comic relief.
Almost a little comical. So Bob starts going, "Whoa, talk to me," and Bob says the world can go back.
Can I just say I love the magical television world gag that you can't pronounce any words, sounds don't come through the gag whatsoever. Even sometimes when it's just a perfectly pristine piece of silver duct tape that somehow hasn't wrinkled or sweat off or anything like that. It's amazing. I love it. I just love it.
It's like the movie and TV matches that you can light on wet grass or something like that. It's lit.
Yeah, and then when they put the gag back on after Bob does his spiel about, we have the cure, we know the cure, all this stuff, they put the gag back on his mouth, and it's like, and his voice dies. It's funny. Hilarious.
We can bring the world back.
That was limp, too.
He was holding it with his teeth.
Yeah, he was clenching down on it. Come on, Bob. Obviously, Bob needs some lessons, too much teeth. Too much teeth on that gag.
Yeah, but someone needs to take Bob aside and teach him how to properly eat how to eat a peach for hours. So we go to the woods, or I'm sorry, no, we don't go to the woods. Gareth ungags Rick, and you better watch out because Rick's known to bite people. So you better back up a little.
No, he's got a special plan for Gareth. He's not going to bite Gareth. He tells us what he's going to do to Gareth.
Yep, he does. So he says he went into the woods with a bag, and he saw him came back. What's in the bag? And
what's in the bag, man? What's in the bag? Oh, what's in the bag?
Kill Bob if you don't tell me what's in the bag. And he holds him at a knife, and they have a little bit of the game. And finally, Rick says it's not going to happen, and he motions a stabbing motion to Bob. And he says everything's in the bag, a bunch of guns, and there's a machete with a red handle that I'm going to use to kill you with. And if you have a few minutes, we can get messy and go out there.
Pirate on him, dude.
And then Gareth says to the killer guys, we have a few minutes for you guys to get messy, then we need to put the public face back on Terminus. So do your business, kill these people, and let's get on with it. Bam, we're into our opening credits, The Walking Dead. Oh, dun dun dun. Following the opening sequence, we go over to Tyrese and Carol and baby Judith, the luckiest baby on earth. And they're still walking up.
Survived the Psycho Girl.
Oh my goodness. I just rewatched those episodes leading into it.
I only watched USA, so.
Oh. Oh my God, she is horrible. That the poor other little girl that got killed by her. So they're walking along, hoping to catch up to Terminus. Carol says she's not sure if she's gonna stay because she still feels uneasy about everything, even though Tyrese seems more upset about the whole little girls dying thing than he does about his girlfriend being killed by Carol. I think he's way over that. That's not even it wasn't even brought up. It isn't even an issue at all.
Yeah, she came clean to him. And he was like, yeah. Oh well. I mean, not quite that nonchalant, but you know,
Okay.
he knows about it. Carol told him. You know, Rick still doesn't know that Carol told him, so Rick's gonna carry that around for a while until Tyrese tells him.
Yeah, we're gonna have a scene next week that deals with that real quick. So Tyrese takes Judith from Carol after they see a bunch of walkers.
Wait, why that? Why not a Beth-centric episode?
Maybe we will. We're gonna have a Beth. We are gonna have something about Beth soon because I've already seen a spoiler that she's in this season. So I mean that's all I know.
So there's a spin-off series coming. What if they use her for the spin-off series? Like she's been taken, she's been captured by some, you know, cross-country driving black with a cross on it.
Have you read up on the spin-off series? I'm not even sure if it's going to. Most likely, they are probably going to bring at least one character over to the spin-off series. It's going to be interesting to see how that goes. And I'm not even sure the timetable of it quite yet.
I know nothing about it, so.
So
So
Tyrese says, and this is what I don't get. Tyrese can't kill walkers because he's upset about the little girls.
Really? Is that what he said? Is that what they were saying?
Yeah, he takes the baby from Carol and he says, "Explain, I can't kill them, not yet." To which Carol replies that he'll have to one day before she realizes she sees more walkers are coming and then she runs. Tyrese says he can't kill, and that's what the whole thing at the end with where the guy forces him to go outside to kill all those walkers. Tyrese is having a little bit of, he's feeling bad.
Well,
he did real quick. Get over that.
Yeah, big fucking baby.
Could you turn me down? Could you turn me down a little bit? I'm starting to hear myself a little bit.
Yeah.
And oh yeah, there I am. As they run further into the woods and off the tracks, they hide. As we see a huge amount of walkers. A couple times this episode, they did a really great job of the whole scope of a lot of herds coming around. I liked it.
Yeah, they really let us see the masses again in this episode, which is something we've been lacking for a while.
And the walkers approach them, and they're distracted by the gunfire that we hear in the distance at Terminus. That I forgot to mention that as they're about to get killed, as they're about to, our boys, our teammates are about to get stabbed and hit with baseball bats.
Bludgeoned and sliced.
Some explosions happen, or distracts them. Where that ends up happening in a few minutes here. I'm losing track a little bit. So as they run further into the woods off the track, they hide and they're distracted by these gun stuff as Carol and Tyrese assess the situation. They continue back in the tracks, questioning where that gunfire is coming from.
Terminus?
Maybe it's our friends. Maybe we should go towards there. Tyrese questions whether they want to even find out what's going on there. He's like, what the fuck? I don't even care. I don't even want to know what's going on here.
Yeah, and Carol's like, too bad, we're going there. I'm leaving you there, I'm leaving the kid there, and I'm taking off.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get what Tyrese is doing. I guess they're doing a good job of adding some elements of family similarity between him and his sister, because last season, if you remember, when Bob, Maggie, and and I'm blanking on Tyrese's sister's name. They were thinking about going to Terminus. She was the one that didn't want to go because she didn't want to find out whether Tyrese was alive or not. The other two of them had to talk her into going. So maybe it's a family trait that the avoidance issue, and maybe it's a good job on the writers and the actors to add that parallel. So maybe it does make sense. I guess I just don't see why one would cause the other. Being so upset about this, what happened with the little girls, and that causing you to pussy up a little bit. I don't know. I think it would.
Well,
I just think that they've made Tyrese a little bit of a pussy.
Well, the human psyche is very fragile, and you would imagine that at this point, however many seasons or years or into the zombie apocalypse, the Walker apocalypse that we've gotten, you never know what it's going to take. The one child murdering her younger sister and then to murder the baby to prove some weird thing, and then having to take that girl out back and put her down. That can traumatize some people.
Oh,
Doesn't
absolutely.
traumatize Carol, but
no doubt. I know. Carol just shakes it off.
right, she had her breakdown. She lost her girl. Girls die.
Yeah, I just would think that Tyrese would be take out some of that frustration on zombies to save his life. You wouldn't just send Carol out there to handle all the business herself.
Yeah, you would think so, but the human psyche is a fragile thing.
We go to the cabin in the woods where someone named Martin is setting up fireworks to create a distraction.
Oh, yeah. They walk right up on him. They hear him talking. And you got to imagine that's a pretty stupid thing to talk about over the walkie-talkie. He says, oh, that woman with the sword and that kid with the hat, they're going to fall right into line once we bleed the others. They walk up to hear that. Who else has walkie-talkies or scanners that are trying to listen and find people that you're just, talking about bleeding and sticking people? Like, that's going to detract some people from coming to Terminus. That's not stuff you want advertised.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like, with all the signs and everything, these guys from Terminus aren't the brightest bulbs in the world.
Not all of them, anyway.
It goes to what they were saying at the beginning. What were we thinking to put ourselves in this situation? These are the type of people that put up signs and encourage people to come to join them in the world that we live in now, which is a very difficult place to have an open door policy.
Right. You're talking about this is a big peaceful sanctuary. Oh, it's a peaceful place. Let's go. They're only interested in killing walkers. Let's go take it.
So Carol sneaks in behind him and tells him to drop the weapon and pushes a gun to his head.
Which is exactly, I just meant to draw the parallel, which is exactly the opposite of Mayberry or Blackberry or whatever it was. Woodbury, thank you. So it's like where the governor was, we're going to kill everybody and take what they have and bring only like select few back to the place, women who can breed and marry the single men that are here or whatever. That was the governor's stance for Woodbury, which is the exact opposite of what Sanctuary was, or Terminus, which was Sanctuary. And, as this episode let us know.
So Carol gets him, subdues this guy, and he goes into that we only have the samurai and the little boy. They're the only two that we have. She doesn't believe him, and Tyrese says, and Carol's like, I need to go and save the day. I need to go and kick some ass and go see what's going on in Terminus. And Tyrese says, you don't have to go, but she says, you know what, Tyrese, stop being a pussy. I'm going anyway.
She's brilliant in that too, that she doesn't, because she knows, and Katie pointed this out to me too, like she knows that dude's got to die. There's no advantage to leaving him alive whatsoever, period.
I'm kind of surprised she didn't just kill him right there.
Which is the point. She left him alive and bound on purpose, knowing that Tyrese is going to have to kill this dude. Tyrese is going to do it, because this guy's going to do whatever it takes to get away from Tyrese. Because he knows that if Carol comes back, he's a dead man then.
So we're getting somewhere here. Do you think that Carol is working on a deeper mental level in kind of you being a weird motivational speaker in some way to encourage the murder death, the MDK inside of Tyrese?
Okay, I think that's the case. I think this is the first. I think teaching the kids in the library was smart, and I liked the way she was going with that. I've always maintained that killing those two prisoners that got sick was superior. Like, well, you're a hypochondriac, dude. You see someone with a cold, and you actually get a fever and have nothing actually sick about.
Howie Mandel fist bumping people from now on.
So yeah, I see where you're coming from, but a rational person says this isn't exactly how it works, Carol. I think you're overstepping by killing these two and playing in their blood with their sick, diseased bodies and not thinking you're just going to fall ill too. She was too valuable teaching the kids and helping this camp to go
Carol
do it.
and Shane are the only two rational people in this universe.
Yeah, Shane. So Lori too, yeah, right? Lori with her karma.
Lori was great.
Anyway, so. That being said, take that one weird
anyone not named
her evolution out of it, and I like everything else that she's done. I liked what she did with the little girls. I like what she did. She came back. She told Tyrese. I like what she did here in this episode. She's very smart. She's finally not under the thumb of her abusive husband. She's finally knows herself and knows what needs to be done. She's a mother. Katie made the point. She's not going to discuss it with anybody. She knows what it takes to survive. She failed with her own daughter, and she's not going to do that again. And she's not going to drag Tyrese along, not pitching in and not killing zombies and protecting him and the baby. I'll take the baby, I'll go, you leave you there. You take the baby, you stay there, I'll leave. But I'm not taking a grown man around who's not going to contribute. It's just not going to happen.
Tell me about those rabbits, Carol. Tell me about the rabbits, Carol. Aren't these pretty flowers, Carol?
Those vicious fucking rabbits, and she'll take care of them. Just like that little girl did.
So back at the cabin, Martin. I can't think of the actor, but he looked an awful lot like the guy that was in Lost, and this actor's been in tons of things. He might not have been him, might have just been an actor that looks like him. I'm blanking on his name, but I thought he was the same guy that played this guy Kenny on Kearney or Keeney on Lost. Anyway,
It must have been a part of Lost that I didn't see.
And he talks to Tyrese, asking him about Judith and Carol. Tyrese is still definitely upset about what happened last season. It seems Martin's kind of poking at him. And the guy who played Martin, whoever it was, did an excellent job in the scene acting and really probing and pushing at Tyrese and asking another
thing is we've been through that. Oh, my God, you don't take prisoners in this world. Didn't we learned that on the farm? You just don't do it. Carol knows not to take a prisoner. She did this on purpose. She left him with that guy so that Tyrese would know he's got to kill him. He's got to kill him. He's got to kill to survive. She left him there. That was brilliant by Carol, and I agree with Katie's viewpoint on that. Absolutely.
And that's what this guy's doing. He's giving him the whole Joker speech. Batman, the only way to stop me here is to kill me.
Right, and okay, all right. I was thinking, oh, I'm not going to kill him. I'm going to so when the walkers come by, I'm going to stick him a couple of times, make him yell and scream so he can't get away, and use him as bait so I can get away.
Yep, Shane him. Do what Shane does. Again, do what Shane would do. What this world should be, WWSD.
WSD, baby.
What would Shane do? That's the only question you need to ask yourself in the zombie apocalypse. What would Shane do? And Shane would.
First thing, he would shave his head.
No, he wouldn't. First, he would shoot the fat guy and use him as bait. Then he'd shave his head.
Oh, well, first he'd fuck your wife. Then he'd shoot the bad guy.
and then he'd say, Carl.
Then he'd shave his head.
Carl, what do you mean I can't find frogs with Carl? So this guy.
You know who's good at finding frogs? Lori's good at finding frogs.
Lori can find the frog every time. That's what makes Lori such a good girl. She finds that froggy every time. She plays with those tadpoles all the time. So he gives Tyrese a speech about the hell that they live in and being a boat stuck in the ocean or something, or being out behind walls. Basically tells him he's a good guy, and because he's a good guy, he will die and the baby will die by the end of the day. Take the keys, get in the car, get the hell out of here, let me go, and you will live. If not, You'll die. I don't want to do this today. My schedule says human steak, burn some bodies,
cause distraction, and go home.
Yeah, I really don't have time to murder a baby. I'm sorry, it's not on the schedule today. Even though human baby meat baby veal is a delicacy in the Terminus world, I don't have time. And this leads us more to the attempt in this episode to paint the Terminus people as reluctant evildoers.
Well, at this point too, I think we hear the big bang off in the distance.
This is when this all happens. We switch over to Carol, who's walking amongst the walkers after making herself look like one.
Finally, the trick from season 1 we get back to, revisited, which we've been wondering. I think they've done it once or twice. Other Rick covered himself with a body when they brought their prisoner out with Shane to go get rid of him.
And I'm pretty sure, as I said earlier, I think Michonne did it in an episode when she came to when the group at the prison first met her, when she goes to warn them and tell them that Glenn is kidnapped, I believe. And Rick and Company's and she can kind of look through her scope, and she sees Rick and Company being held in the distance. And as she approaches the fence, she uses her sniper vision and plays a little bit of Sniper Scope 5 over here, and she diverts attention as walkers are coming in the distance. Like a shit ton of walkers are coming. You just see huge army of them coming towards the prison, because that's what it's like, coming towards Terminus, because it looked like that scene in the prison where there was just.
And she also sees Rick and Company bound and being dragged through the square.
So this is where Carol turns into Rambo. She sets up a rocket, aims the rocket.
Yeah, barely. I want you to take that back. You need to retract that. She sets up a rocket, which is miraculously aimed perfectly.
Hey.
Like, there's no aiming. She doesn't fix it. She doesn't adjust it. She just puts the rifle down.
Listen, Joe.
And then puts a rocket in it.
Listen, Joe. If you've given birth, you can aim a rocket.
A rocket that she's not fired off before, like.
She's from the. Come on, you met her husband. He has plenty of fireworks in the Fourth.
Yeah. She's a redneck. She knows her fireworks. Absolutely.
Fireworks. Come on, give Carol a little credit, Joe. Stop being a doubter to her people.
Yeah.
So it lands directly on the tanker, and blowing it up, sending.
Well, first she shoots the tanker a couple of times. She puts a few rounds in it to get the gas, which Terminus has a full tank of propane gas still after all this time. Wonderful, awesome.
Joe, in fairness, this part of the episode was directed by Michael Bay, who came in and was like, "Listen, you know what we need? Some walkers on fire. How can we get some walkers on fire? That's what this."
There wasn't enough Transformers for it.
We need Grimlock to ride. I mean, we need Optimus Prime to ride Grimlock. It's not going to make any sense, but we need it to happen. And I think this was an element of, they wanted walkers on fire. They wanted burning zombies walking towards Terminus, and they felt like they needed a way for it to happen, and this was the way for it to happen.
Uh-huh. Well, they also needed the distraction. They needed because with that, after the firework, we already saw the boom with Rick and them. That had already happened, so we saw the building shake and then get startled, which we see again is from Carol shooting, and we don't know what it is at first when we see it earlier.
Yeah, they
which distracts them. Our four from our crew not getting their necks sliced and heads bashed in.
And this leads us into one of our cooler Carol moments where.
Oh, the best Carol moment yet. This is Carol at her absolute best and perfect. She's calculated. She knows exactly what she's doing. She executes every part of this perfectly, right down to putting the shotgun down against the fence in the perfect position, not knowing yet that she was going to need to fire that rocket. Perfect. Yep. Carol is in top form. Her senses are peaking.
I loved it when some of the army of the horde of the walkers were distracted, and she saw the guy shooting at him, and she just shot the guy. It was.
Yep, talking about headshot.
Yep.
She stepped into the shadows, into the doorway, and then lined up her shot perfectly and took him out. And he was kind of like standing up against a wall, trying to take out the onslaught of walkers, the herd of walkers coming towards them. So it was very well done. and then she moves on.
Yep.
She
Then we go
starts
back.
moving through that building.
Then we go back to the cabin where Tyrese realizes there was an explosion in the distance of the rocket launcher, and he looks out the window and he sees the black smoke monster from Lost. He really did. It really was the black smoke monster, the black cloud, and billowing in the wind. And again, Tyrese is just off his game. You turn your back on a guy that's unbound with a baby.
Well, he doesn't use that distraction. The guy is just calmly like, "Is that Terminus?" And the guy's like, and Tyrese says, "Yep."
And then he said, maybe you'll win this, maybe I'm capped. And the pair, they talk about death, and Martin repeats again that Tyrese and Judith will die today. If you believe no, and Tyrese is like, no, no one has to die. And he says, if you believe that no one has to die, you and that kid, you're an idiot. And it was almost akin to that old saying that if you're sitting down at the poker table and you look around and you can't identify the sucker, you're the sucker, Tyrese. You're going to lose all your money tonight. Sucker. So we go back to our warehouse with Gareth, and Gareth disappears into a panic after telling everyone to stay where they are. Rick begins to cut.
Tweedledee and Tweedledummer.
Yeah. Oh God, the idiots that they have killing people.
I ain't staying here during this fight, and I'm gonna go out there. This is your first time on the job. Don't you go messing everything up. We should just do what we're doing.
I just clocked into this cannibal job yesterday. I was working at the Walmart, but then I got this job at this cannibal place, this terminal.
Laundry yesterday. I only been here 2 months. I've been doing everybody's laundry. I don't understand that. Now we're doing this. Nah.
We don't get paid for a week from Tuesday, dude. What are we gonna do here? Come on. So Gareth disappears as Rick begins cutting away those restraints. As we see mass panic as flaming walkers enter Terminus. As we see Tasha Yar yelling Jesus. And you know when Tasha Yar yells Jesus, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
And the Terminus people are holding their own, though. They're killing anyone they could find. Carol's still walking amongst all the zombies, and the two killer. This is where she does the headshots, and the two idiots, as we're saying, were like, "What do we do? What do we do? Let's not kill people and let's make love and and get married and go live down by the fire." And then right out of nowhere, Rick comes and kills both of them. He makes sure
he takes the little knife he's had that he cut free his ropes with, and jabs one from behind in the neck, and then comes up on the other one and stabs him a few times.
Yep, he makes sure they're both dead, and then he unties everybody. And then we go back to our train cart where we see Abraham and friends. And basically the point of this scene is just to remind us that there's no way these people are going to be left behind.
Right.
And Carl and Maggie are like, listen, guys, they're coming back for us. Don't worry. We're okay. We're okay.
Eugene goes to try to blow the door open. He was trying to fix something to weaken the structure of the door.
Eugene.
The structural integrity of the door will be weakened a little. Who knows if they are coming back for us good sons of the South.
So as the cannibal guys are more escaping the village, we see more signs that they're all cannibals. We see a lot of bodies, and we see human steaks in the corners. And Rick tells the rest of his friends as they're escaping, he goes, "Don't kill them. Let them turn into walkers. They don't deserve to die."
Nope, they don't. They're cannibals. Live as cannibals.
Yep.
That's what you were in life. That's what you'll be in afterlife. After death.
And that's interesting. That's because in a way that in this world that's the ultimate insult. It's not even killing you, not even making sure you're not going to change.
Yep.
So
also, for everyone you leave alive, like Carl learned, is the potential that it will come back and bite you in the wherever.
So Bob wonders who these people are, and Rick's like, they're not people. They don't deserve death. So we see the walkers outside surrounding yet another container, which seems to be full of different group of survivors.
So we missed it. I'm sorry, I got to rewind a little bit. The one point I was worried when they were in the lineup and Rick was going all crazy talk, Gareth was holding a knife to Bob's eye, and I was worried for Bob in that moment. That's when I thought, oh my God, they were teasing that they were going to kill Glenn this whole time on Fox. Every time you turned around, you were getting a Gotham trailer or a Walking Dead trailer on some other channel. You know, I didn't mean Fox, but you're getting those two trailers all over the place in the last few months on every channel. So I thought, oh my God, they're threatening Bob's face. Bob opened his mouth. Bob's gonna die.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really thought Bob was a goner in that moment. That was the only time I was worried in this episode.
I like Bob, but he's one of our more expendable guys on our team.
Right. I mean, he has a budding love interest for Sasha. We can nip that in the bud just as easily as make it bloom, you know.
Yeah, Sasha. I couldn't think of Sasha's name earlier. So walkers are surrounding this other container, and Glenn's like, we should save these people. This is the first time we've seen old Glenn in a while. Glenn's like, we need to save these people. And Rick's like, no, we're not saving anybody. And Glenn goes, no, that's not who we are.
Yeah, the people in the other containers that are yelling for help.
Yeah, we're the type of people that save people.
That's the difference between us and them.
Yep. And they let them out, and a crazy guy that
Charles Manson.
like Hacksaw Jim Duggan had sex.
We are them. They are us. We are the same.
Same.
Silent Green is people.
And this guy isn't Encino Man that they're going to turn into their best friend later.
Like, you got to ask yourself. I don't think that was necessarily ash all over his face. What did he? It was either feces or what?
It had to be feces. After a certain point in time, you go all Miguel Alvarez and that stuff, and you start wiping poop all through the cell. You got to. It's that type of thing. So he gets quickly killed. He gets quickly attacked
immediately by zombies, right? Yeah, that was the only container we opened. That was the only person we tried to save that was also a captive.
There should be a Walking Dead reality show where we open containers of Terminus. People have to pit on it.
You want what's in container number 1?
Terminus Marriage Wars. We have dead people. No, so back inside the compound, we see Carol again, who's made it into the bounty room, the Scrooge McDuck Addams Family room that has all the toys of the people that they've eaten, the watches, weapons, toys.
Clothes.
Now it's interesting that she grabbed a watch and she put.
I think that she recognized that as the watch that Herschel gave to Glenn.
No,
ever since I gave Glenn my watch, it's always right now. Or it was Rick's watch because Rick and her had that exchange of watches right before he told her to go away. So they set their watches so she knows exactly whose watch that was. I think it was Rick's watch.
I'm pretty sure it was Rick's watch because we saw the Glenn watch earlier at a different time.
So it was her husband's watch that she gave to Rick.
Oh, in the episode that they split ways.
Right.
So she grabs the watch, and of course she grabs Daryl's crossbow because the action figures for Daryl don't want to change.
Who did she give the watch back to? Did she give the watch back to someone when she met up?
Saw the scene. The only thing we saw when they met back up is her giving the crossbow back to Daryl. I'm sure that will be dealt with in our scene when we close out the Rick talking to her about her talking to Tyrese and stuff. We'll deal with the watch then. It'll probably be the next time we see all of them together, whether it's next week or a few episodes down the road. So yeah, they grab Daryl's crossbow, as I said, because the Daryl action figures have the crossbow, and we need to make sure that Daryl has.
He's got to have his crossbow. It's like Crocodile Dundee's boomerang or something, you know.
The knife.
Back to him.
Or Indiana Jones' hat. Yeah, they
whip.
He needs it. He needs the crossbow. It's a must. So Rick, Daryl, and Bob and Glenn decide what they want to do next, and they see a bunch of Terminus guys coming in with big guns, cleaning out the middle where all the walkers are. And this is where Rick does a pretty cool, almost a governor type move, where he sneaks in, knocks out one of the guys that's trailing the little caboose.
Oh yeah, no, he sneaks up, hides. A walker tries to get him from behind, and Daryl gets the walker. And he's waiting for the last person in the group that's trying to clear out the street full of walkers. And when that last person passes him, he jumps out, takes that dude out, grabs the guy's gun, and mows down the people from behind. Cause fuck
yep,
them,
all from behind.
They're no better than the zombies, so they got to go.
Yep, and
they're far worse than the zombies.
Because these type of people, they're doing it to their own their own people. I mean, these guys are worse than the zombies when it really comes down to it.
They can consciously say, no, we're not going to live that way. The zombies can't actually do that. So.
Oh, sorry to the person that was in here. Yeah, come back later. Come back later. Lots of Walking Dead spoilers here. Lots of spoilers from the episode. Spoiler: Rick dies. Sorry, Rick Grimes dead.
The whole cast is dead.
We're gonna have a completely new cast next week because everyone got killed in a zombie herd. It's called Walking Dead: The Reality Show. Everyone dies in a zombie herd. So Carol finds her way outside. She gets all the weapons and she sneaks out. And Rick, Daryl, Bob, and Glenn decide what to do next. And Rick does this thing where he kills everyone from behind. So here's where we go to our room where we have Carol enters and we have the Carol versus Tasha Yar battle, which was really interesting. I like the scene a lot. So Tasha Yar is there pointing a gun at her. She tells Carol to turn around because she wants to see her face. What the hell? Give me a break, bad guy.
Right? I want to see the face. She's never ever seen a Hollywood movie.
Yeah.
You do what Rick did. You go up and you shoot everybody in the back. That's what you do.
Every time I see this, not that I'm going to encourage this movie because it's not the greatest movie in the world, but if you want to watch a scene from The Adventures of Ford Fairlane, where at the end, it's an Andrew Dice Clay movie, where Andrew Dice Clay and Robert Englund, who plays...
Those pedals!
Yeah, he has a gun on him at the end. He's like, why don't you drop the gun so we can fight man-to-man, mano-a-mano. He convinces the idiot villain to drop the gun. Andrew Dice Clay's like, listen, you're an idiot. What do you man-to-man, mano-a-mano? What the fuck's mano-a-mano mean anyway? And then he just shoots him. It's like the Indiana Jones scene where the ninja's going, and Indiana Jones just looks at him and goes, man,
shoot him. Yeah.
Give me a break. Come on. Turn around. Tasha, you're smarter than this.
So Carol starts to drop the weapons too, and as she's twisting to turn around, she, squeezes off and fires a bunch of rounds out of her assault rifle, and either gets Tasha Yar once or just startles her enough where she drops the gun and kind of tosses it and falls on the floor. And when Carol goes to run up to kick the gun, we get some good Jello wrestling.
Yeah, we do.
Tasha Yar versus.
The only way to have made that scene better would be mud or Jello.
Or Jello.
Or Jello. But it wasn't.
What was Jello? What color do you go with?
Green.
Okay.
You gotta go green.
Katie?
It's silence. We hear crickets from Katie. But we're not approved. Not approved.
I'm pretty sure she'd pick green Jello.
So Mary talks about
wrestling.
The pair wrestle around for a bit. Then Mary starts talking about the signs on the wall. That the signs were as Carol gets the best of her in the fight. She explains a little bit more history on the Terminus situation. Says that it used to be a sanctuary. It was what it appeared to be initially, but then people came in and they raped and they killed and they laughed and ultimately we came back in, we took it over, and we decided that you're either the butcher or the cattle. The butcher or the cattle. She explains it was a sanctuary, people came and took it at the butcher or the cattle. Carol goes, butcher or cattle, hey? I'm going to shoot you in the fucking leg. Pow! And then gives her one to the leg. Bam, bam.
And opens the door where she saw the Walker shadows at earlier. And lets the Walkers in to eat Tasha Yar. Beautiful. Yep. Mary.
Yep, Data would not be happy. Somewhere Data's crying. I know he doesn't. He put the emotion in, and he's watching her get destroyed and killed. This is the second time we've seen Tasha Yar get destroyed by something like that. In Star Trek Next Generation, she gets destroyed by muck, by black oozing muck that just suffocates her.
Does she die as the Romulan too?
I think she gets blown up in the Starfighter, or she might still be out there. I don't think her character ever had closure. But I could be wrong.
I want to say it did, but
yeah, too much.
Okay, there's
different podcast.
Someone's gonna find out and post that for us.
Please.
Of our Trekkie knowledge.
So, but Carol initially was trying to get the information about where Rick and the group were, and Tasha wasn't giving up the information. So Carol eventually leaves, and opens the door for the walkers to come kill Tasha. So back at the cabin, Tyrese is distracted by the smoke and the approaching walkers.
Yeah, a bunch of walkers start to stumble by that are headed towards Terminus because of the explosion.
And then they're distracted by the cabin, so they start to head towards the cabin too. And this gives Martin the opportunity to dive at the baby. He grabs Judith by the neck and places his hand around her neck.
Not little kick-ass, oh no!
And this is the second time this has happened to this poor baby in a few weeks. If you think of the timetable with a little girl choking the neck, this baby's gonna have a weird fetish when she gets older, and she's not gonna.
Oh, stop it! Don't go there.
I'm kidding, of course. But she's threatening. It's threatening to break the neck of the poor baby.
Yeah, that's pretty sick, huh? This kid's gonna do anything. And then at that point, he's like, put your weapons on the floor. Tyrese, you big fucking asshole! Shoot him in the face.
Yep. Now.
He's not gonna hurt the baby. You shoot him in the face, the baby's fine.
But I guess that's why I'm joking. But no one's gonna. You really think he was gonna kill the baby?
He's definitely gonna do something that's gonna cause it pain. If you don't do it, you're gonna hear that baby scream. But at best case scenario is, if you do anything this guy tells you to do, he's gonna kill you and the baby also. Or at least kill you and then take the baby off to this awful place that he was talking about.
We don't negotiate.
It's a lose-lose situation. You open fire and pray for the best. Which is essentially what he ends up having to do anyway.
Yeah, we don't negotiate with terrorists.
We do not negotiate with cannibal terrorists. We just don't. You don't. Right. Which is why. Okay, so you're going to keep this guy alive, but you know what? Cut his Achilles while you're sitting there waiting. He might yell and scream now, but eventually he's going to stop. And then when the zombies get close, you stab him a few more times so he starts yelling and screaming again, making noise, and get the fuck away. But you don't leave this guy in a position where his feet are unbound or he's within reaching distance or quick hop distance of the baby that you're trying to protect. Ridiculous.
So Martin urges
him, you fucking moron.
Martin urges him to go outside or he'll kill the baby. As the walkers are banging on the walls, we hear the baby
screaming, walkers banging on the walls, and he said, "Tyrese, go out there, Tyrese."
Kill him. He does. Yep, and he does. He leaves, and we set up the drama. We go to commercial, and we come back, and we hear the sounds outside that sound like Tyrese might be getting his ass kicked, but we know Tyrese isn't going to die here, and not off screen. As Martin dives again for his walkie-talkie back inside, suddenly it's silence, and the dude walks.
There's a big bang. Tyrese screams, and there's 3 big thuds against the side of the wall. That looks like Tyrese is trying. And with the scream, it looks like Tyrese is about to come through the wall. Like the dust is falling from the log cabin and everything. It's pretty gnarly.
And Martin makes another idiot bad guy mistake where he creeps up to the door to see if anything's going on. He's just like
instead of taking shelter in the corner, barricading yourself in and staying quiet.
Or at least keeping the baby close to you.
Right.
And Tyrese busts down the door and knocks him down and punches him. And the guy goes...
So he punches him just once at first and then holds the knife to his neck. And the guy's like, yeah, do it. Go ahead. See, now you get it.
And Tyrese goes, no, I won't. Don't hit people. This is why you don't.
Yeah, you use your words.
This is why you don't hit people. This is why you don't hit people.
Do not use babies as ransom.
Repeat, and again, do not use babies as... You damn cannibal bastards. So we go back to Terminus, and I wrote this down. Right after Tyrese walks out of the door after killing this guy, or beating the shit out of this guy, it's an excellent shot of kind of a pan up of the house and the dead walkers around the house, and
they're like impaled. There's like 2 impaled on these big spikes that have been used to fortify the house, and one just laying there on the ground. Tyrese, seriously, he went house on them.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
So we go back to Terminus, and walkers are still seen all around and surrounding the container where Maggie and company are trying to sharpen some of their weapons that they have. And this is where we find out a little bit more about the cure. One of them.
Well, yeah, it's starting to sound more and more like it's a bunch of bullshit too. You know, I can't
It's a
tell
hunt.
you. It's
It's a hunt.
classified.
It's and Eugene still won't mention. Yeah, it's classified. I mean, but he eventually does give some more background where he says, without talking about the cure, he starts going, if I even told step by step an FAX with a red ring around it, the cure is gonna die with me.
Right. Yeah. And then I was on a team of 10 men who were trying to of scientists who were using pathogens to fight other deadly pathogens, and because I was in an elite circle of scientists, I was privy to conversations, and you know, drinks were poured and meals were eaten and conversations were had and things said.
And I saw Ferris at 31 Flavors last night.
And I saw Ferris.
And since I saw Ferris at 31 Flavors last night, I know that since we have bombs and diseases that can take out humans, we have bombs and diseases that can take out all the walkers.
Right, and that's what I'm going to go tell them and
The
watch.
problem is, once you do that, the first other person that dies again is going to start the problem again. Because
Everyone's infected. Unless this is a pathogen that everybody's infected with some sort of maybe pathogen, like he's saying, deadly pathogen. So if you use the pathogen that fights the pathogen, maybe it transfers to everybody, and if you die then you no longer are reanimated.
Yeah, who is on first and what's on second, and I don't know who's definitely on third base with this one.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of Star Trek technobabble going
So
on.
he lets that little bit slip, and everybody's just like, oh, okay.
And he
Because
says, please, we
he
could take out every...
knows that this is going to work, but he knows the exact pathogens that will do it, apparently.
Right. And he says a few alterations, and I could target every walker on Earth and kill them all.
Right.
And that would be pretty badass.
That would be.
That's what he says.
And then he says, but here's the thing, I'm not fleet of foot, so when this door opens, please don't let me die out there.
Yeah.
I can't kill them with just a bare fist.
Now, which raises the question, is this guy just...
Which is why it made me think, wow, it sounded more and more like bullshit the way he's about to get grilled about, and he gave a slick answer. There's no doubt he's fast with his tongue, but...
Is this like me making friends with the biggest kid at a party, so if anyone starts problems, I know I'm friends with the biggest kid?
Yes, it's why you stand next to me at every party we go to.
It's why we started being friends in the first place, because because I'm like, oh, if I get in trouble, you'll bail me out.
That's why you're always 5 feet away from me when we're in a bar.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I never leave your side. but that's beside the point. But so is it the same sort of thing here, where he's making this up just for people to protect him because he knows this is his trick to be able to survive?
Certainly the way it felt, isn't it? Like, that's the way it felt to me, and I don't know, especially with the looks Eugene was given, like the looking out the corner of his eye, he looked nervous. Good acting, maybe he was supposed to look that way,
Mm-hmm.
But it certainly made it feel like he could be bullshitting and using that. That's his only way that he's a nerd. He's been teased and picked on and punched and, what's your favorite, what kind of video gamer were you? RPGs, first-person shooters, this, that, the other thing. I can make a battery out of nickels and some bleach and some sodium or whatever the fuck he said. Like, this kid's had his ass kicked many, many times with his badass mullet. So maybe this is the only way he sees that he can survive in this world. It's him trying to, how else can I survive? I can convince them to drive to Washington, D.C. That should take a couple of months, maybe a year with the roads the way they are. Who knows?
I guess if that guy at the beginning in season 1 at the CDC can't do it, I don't think the Mullet Man can.
Right. Well, he was on a special team of 10 scientists.
Yeah.
Military, that were trying to mechanize pathogens that kill other pathogens. So it's a different kind of thing, where that other guy was the CDC, who's responsible for keeping humans alive and controlling the deadly things that we already know about.
Maybe at minimum he can create some cool grenades that can kill thousands of walkers in one shot. That might be kind of cool. So they eventually are freed by Rick, and they're all escaping, killing walkers, kind of like in an impressive fashion. It seemed like a long time since we've seen almost our full team of heroes going zombie killing crazy, which happened in this scene. We just saw everyone just killing and killing everywhere, every walker or human in their path as Terminus burns around them. And they shot down a couple of Terminus guys. I couldn't tell if one of them was that main guy, but they definitely Rick shot a bunch of the Terminus guys on his way out.
Well, yeah, no. Gareth was on as they were getting close to the gate and everything, and to basically where they got herded back to the Container A, or wherever the heck they were. There was Gareth was on the roof, and he shot around, and it looked like Gareth got hit.
Yeah, but Gareth is alive. But
he's not dead.
Yeah, Gareth
definitely is not dead. He'll be back. He was definitely alive. It like hit his hip or his shoulder or something stupid like that.
He's coming back. They gave him...
Come on, we already learned this lesson with the governor, didn't we? Didn't we already learn this lesson that you don't leave the psychopath alive after you murder a whole bunch of people that he loves?
Yeah, and that's what Rick was saying a little bit in a few minutes here.
Pretends to love, anyway.
And that's why Rick was completely correct later in a few minutes when he's the only one that wants to go back and make sure they're all dead, and everyone's like, no, let's just move on.
Which is also what he says when they first get free. He says, kill every single one of them. Don't hesitate. No matter what they say, just if you see them, kill them. If you don't recognize them, kill them immediately.
Now, this is when it happens. They make it to the woods, and they dig up the bag of guns, and Rick urges everyone we need to go back and MDK everybody we get in contact with. We need to kill every single one of them and their children. We need to make
I agree with that move here. I absolutely agree with that move here.
He thinks WWSD, and he knows it's the right thing to do, and kill everybody.
Because the thing is, too, is where they're definitely, they're eating people. That's something that everybody in this community knows. That's not a secret. There's no... excuse me, there's no hiding that fact. So that warrants the destruction of this town. Whereas in Mayberry, you don't know if everybody was culpable or if it was just the governor.
No,
know that if people is the main course of food, that everybody in this town is culpable and everybody must die. Once they've gone there, there's no going. You're not going back from that. You're always going to be able to find a meal and a stranger that you come across in the street. I can kill them, cut that thigh off real quick. I got a meal for the night, move on. They'll get eaten by a walker by the end of the day.
Yeah, unless your skier's trapped on a mountain and eating it for sustenance, you go cannibal, you don't go back.
Correct, yeah. Not if you're, for any amount of time, eating people, like...
No, that's a tough thing.
You got it down to a science, where you got the place set up to herd people into their cattle stall, cattle crate, whatever it is.
No, they were a business. What
are they going to do with Judith? Are they going to make veal out of Judith?
I said that earlier. Don't. I go, is she a delicacy?
Yeah, that's why he wasn't going to hurt the baby. Like he didn't break the baby's neck. He was, them's good eats.
So suddenly Carol appears to everyone.
Who do you get to cook the baby, Alton Brown or Bobby Flay?
you get Emerald, so he can go bam, bam. So Carol appears, and to everyone's surprise, especially Daryl, who gets really excited to see his crossbow. I can't tell if he's more excited to see the crossbow or Carol.
So
but
he runs over. He gives Carol a big fat hug. He was devastated when Carol didn't come back. He is so happy to see her. I'm very happy for Daryl. And I really got to say that somehow, somewhere, not only did Carol Rambo up and take down this compound like a badass with all that zombie blood all over her face, rubbed in her hair, so she had like red hair, right? She was dirtied up. Yeah, she had maybe some poncho on that had all the blood and guts on it too to protect those clothes that she's wearing. But she got really clean. By the time this battle was over, she killed Tasha Yar. She got out of there without getting killed by any zombies and met up with the crew at their buried stash with the weapons and the watch. And her face was spotless. Her hair was perfect. She was ready to see her man. I'm not going to go see my Daryl all bloodied and zombied up.
She had some handy wipes left over from the prison, I'm sure.
Yeah, she had something, man.
Something
got real clean.
He was using some of the baby the butt wipe thing.
She had the baby wipes.
Baby wipes. Yeah, she cleaned her face with the baby wipes.
I'm just saying, it was pretty. That was a flaw in my mind in how that went. She should have been filthy still. How did she get so clean? Or at least they could have showed us her stopping at a sink while zombies were roaming around behind her to wash her face and hands, or a stream or something. But no, she's just. Did you catch it? Did you catch that?
Yeah, I mean, she looked a little clean. But the same.
Well, on your second watch, you're going to be like, holy shit. She had like schmear face, and now she's just clean, perfectly.
Now she looks like Jamie Lee Curtis at her best. She's like,
yeah. She does a
I
little
drink
bit.
Activia. Dun, dun, dun. So Rick
She
asks.
looked like the crazy guy. She looked like Charlie Manson's smeared face counterpart.
So Rick asks Carol if that was her that went all Rambo, and she says yes. And then Rick gives her a hug, and she tells Rick to come with her. Follow me if you want to live. And they approach the cabin. As they look out, and Rick sees that Tyrese has baby Judith. Rick runs over to Tyrese, and Tyrese's sister Sasha runs over, and the families are reunited. We have which is really scary because we have a happy ending at the very beginning of a season of The Walking Dead. This can only go to bad places.
It was a happy ending. Yeah, you got to come with me. We have full reunited. Everybody is together, right?
Don't even smile.
Except Beth.
Beth, yeah, except for Beth. That's the forgotten person. And we almost even see emotion out of Eugene. We almost see a smile out of Eugene.
I'll say this, Katie, me, who I cry at everything. I'm like Mr. Waterworks, and I think the only thing we're missing was some cheesy like music, which would have ripped it out of me. But Katie was in tears at the reunion there of Daryl and Carol, and then Rick and Judith there. She was
a good actor.
the baby was the best child actor I've seen in a while, for sure.
Way better than Sons of Anarchy. That's for damn.
Oh God, that boy is awful.
We'll get into that at a different
Blank, flat affect. Oh my God.
I'm sad, Daddy. I want to go back to school.
Yeah, he's a walker. Oh my God. Awful.
He's an advertisement why it's better to just write the kids out, why it's better to go, what happened to the kid in the show, rather than forcing the kid to act.
And much as a fan as I am of Sons of Anarchy, I think, and like Charlie Hunnam, I think that the guy from the Vikings should have actually played that role.
No, we'll get into that at a
But
different
then the Vikings wouldn't have him, so forget that idea. That would have been horrible because the Vikings is unbelievable. But
So Tyrese
We could do
explains
both.
to Carol what happened with
completely different look.
and he reveals to him that he had to kill Martin because Martin was going to kill Judith. Now, with lots of walkers, hand around Judith's neck, etc., etc. Carol looks relieved that everything seems to be going okay, and she's accepted back into the group. But she still looks a little bit unsure. And it seems like Rick almost immediately starts the Ricktatorship again, Ricktatorship 2, Electric Boogaloo, where he starts to kind of control things. Everyone, we're gonna go over here and do this, but where are we gonna go? But
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. You not only got the sense of that, but Abraham immediately felt it too.
Yeah,
He knew that, and I think they've been in that crate for a while together too. So he knows immediately that all these people know Rick. Rick's their leader, and now there's no more. Okay, now we're all marching to Washington D.C. That's not going to fly. Rick's got his whole crew. They got a thing. That's it.
Abraham mentioned that he needs to wait a little bit to breach that subject to Rick.
Yeah, with his girlfriend there.
With his girlfriend there. So as they pass one of the signs for Terminus, Rick puts up a no to say above sanctuary, to say no sanctuary. Excuse me. But, that really doesn't help because unless he wants to do the Khaleesi thing where he goes and takes down every single one of the slaves, because there's hundreds and upon hundreds of those scattered around the area the tracks leading up to Terminus. So I hope Rick intends to stop at every train stop and put a no sanctuary up on every single one of those signs. But it was a good capper off to the episode where he just writes no sanctuary, and that's the end of our time with the group for the episode. Then we go back.
Then we see him duck off behind the sign, like everybody else had already, I guess, taken a left off of the tracks behind the sign. But as it pans off the sign a little bit, we see Rick ducked behind the sign and into the woods.
And then we switch back to another then scene where, like we saw at the beginning of the episode, containing we see Tasha Yar again. A woman's being dragged out, about to be killed. The people inside the container insist that they will take it back, take Terminus back, and Mary, Tasha, says to Carol, "You're either the butcher or the cattle." We hear that saying again. It's all right.
We see the door open, or is this when we see the door open and the big monster goes, "And get that one," and the girl screams, "Oh, not again, not me again!"
Not again.
He drags her out of the crate and slams the door behind him.
Yeah, so horrible stuff happened to these people.
And so that's when we see that a beginning flashback was also in the past. It was what Tasha Yar was talking about to Carol.
Yeah, the game raping and stuff.
Originally, this was a sanctuary for everybody. People came there. People found life good and pleasant. And then these men, these awful people came and destroyed it and raped and pillaged and laughed.
Johnson & Johnson still in business. Thank you, listener. And this is where it gets interesting again. That's
one of my favorite parts of the episode.
The ends cuts off, and we were capped off with our Terminus people. We get even more care and emotion about who these people were. Then we get our closing credits, and then if you stuck around, we get a little bit of the Avenger thing happening at the end of the episode. At the very end of the episode, the show cuts back from the credits. When the credits end, we get to the train tracks. And we see a man walking down the train tracks in what looks like a superhero outfit of some sort.
He comes, like a traveler outfit. He comes to the sign Rick spray painted, and we see him from the back, all bundled up.
Yep.
Ninja looking.
And he takes up and following the
turns.
group,
Yeah.
He takes off the mask, and who is it? It's fucking Morgan. Morgan,
yeah. Our season 1 dad who gets left behind in the town that Rick is from. His dead wife who he can't kill ends up eating his son, and Rick and Carl end up not Rick and Carl, Rick, Carl, and Michonne find him, and he's got the town set up to be this gauntlet to catch and kill zombies. He's not going to let that happen to anyone else. He'll kill them all. He'll fight off any intruders that come. So it's good to see that he's abandoned that place. Maybe something came through there, overran him out.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what happens, how long he stays following the group, if he joins up with the group. If he saw what happened, if he saw like how Carol destroyed that place, how long has he been watching for? And how long was it when until they came up to that sign?
And who knows what his agenda will be, if he'll come in as a positive force or as a negative force to the group, and how much it will change some of the dynamics that are set up right now. I do know, having not being someone that's completely familiar with the comic books from beginning to end and the storylines, I do know that I've been told on many occasions that he's a much bigger part of the books than he was the television show. So it would be interesting to see him become more part of the show again, because he's one of the characters.
Of course, the rumors have always been about the show that it's going to try to get back to its book's origin.
Yeah. So that's it, Joe. We're done. We're back. Here we are, and The Walking Dead is back. I'm really excited about this episode. It was a great way to get The Walking Dead back with lots of killing, lots of energy. They really hyped up this opening, and I think it really delivered on all cylinders. I mean, did a couple things not match up? Of course they didn't. It's The Walking Dead, but that's fine. It's fun. As long as The Walking Dead is fun, that's all that matters. And I had a shit ton of fun watching this episode and talking about it. Man.
Oh yeah.
Great stuff.
It definitely lived up to the whatever hype that I missed. I'm sure it lived up to for viewers. I just was extremely excited and anxious to get this season started right from the end of last season, and I think that this episode held up. It was brilliant, well written, well acted. The only little problem I had was Carol's cleanliness when she met back up with all of them. Aside from that, I'm still very excited for the rest of the season.
So. Me too, man. So, and I'm excited to talk to you again about some more episodes and more television programs. So, everybody, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Post-Episode Issues. I'm Phil, the Issues Guy, and this is
to tell them to watch the interviews from the Walking Dead conventions that we went to, the Stalking Dead. the Stalker
Absolutely.
Walker Con.
Walker Stalker Con.
There's a bunch of interviews up on the YouTube channel. You should check them out. Michael Cudlitz, great guy. We didn't get to interview him, but he gave me a nice little pen in Abraham's Army.
Yeah, we're gonna have some.
Cudlitz and
There'll
some
be
interviews of some other people. There's Doug Tate,
Yeah.
one of the Jasons. One of the
Mayor Joe Hale.
Mayor Joe Hale. Yep. Who else did we get?
There'll be an interview released with us talking to Sophia.
Oh yeah, Sophia also with the prisoner Rick kills that.
Yeah, I forget his name, but that was probably the most fun. Gomez or whatever his name is.
Gomez, yeah.
Was a little drunk, and we had a good drunk discussion with him. And I'll get to work on posting a lot of that stuff up this week now that I'm all set up and moved in. So everyone will be back to full-time action with The Walking Dead.
If you didn't see any of our episodes last season, if you're tuning in for the first time, Mayor Joe Hale is the leader of the claimed gang that Daryl's with. Yeah. That Rick bites his neck off.
Jeff Kober.
Right, who's also in Sons of Anarchy.
Yes.
So there's questions from both of those. Check them out.
Yeah, so everybody, thank you so much. We will talk to you next time. Later.